it was neat. It's a nice little self-guided tour and a movie, and you know, it's all that beautiful bean footage type thing. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the big show this day today. And, well, I'm going to get to the weather in just a moment. Be prepared for the heat because it's back on. All right, on our show today, Steve Parsons is here from Third Mutual. Has several different things that he is going to talk about today. Also, we have a doctor with Hoag. He's an electrophysiologist, and he's going to talk about AFib and a few other things as well. We're going to bring you a segment from Breastlink, as well as the Lion Air Museum. And, well, that's our segments for the show. Now let's get to the meetings today. There is only one, and that's Third, has their Architectural Control and Standards meeting. That will be held in the Sycamore Room today at 9:30. Now, let's get to the weather. And I'm sorry to say the heat is back on once again, folks, all the way this week, even into next weekend. High pressure system is right now really over about Arizona or so, Arizona, New Mexico. And because of that, that is widening and it's bringing the heat into our area. Along with that, we might get a little bit of offshore winds with that. Right now, there is no red flag warning, but let's take a look at these temperatures. And it's one of these things where I think if anything, I could be low on these temperatures. I always give you the average. I'll look at 3 or 4 different sources and kind of average it out, and that's what I did here. So right now we're looking at 89 today, and then we're going to be into the low to mid 90s going through Friday, and probably Saturday and Sunday we're going to be close to about 90 degrees as well. So like I said, if anything, unfortunately, I'm probably a little low. Look at, by the way, the overnights, you know, hovering around 70 degrees the whole way. Just going inland just a little bit, we're going to be probably 10 degrees warmer than what I have there. Of course, going into the desert communities, as we see, look at Palm Springs, 117 today. They're going to remain there right around that same mark pretty much throughout the week. But here's our temperatures. The beach is today averaging 85, and North OC, that's around Anaheim. Inland OC, you can see in the mid to upper 90s. Inland OC, I usually look at the temperatures for Yorba Linda, the foothills averaging 95. Yeah, it's going to be hot all the way through this week. This is probably going to be the coolest day of the week, so enjoy that. But as I said, hot all the way through, and even next weekend, looking like we'll probably drop about 5 degrees for Saturday and Sunday compared to about Friday. But still, just think of the next 7 days as very warm to hot. That's the way it is. Sorry about that. So, you know, the usual things, keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself cool. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Today is a great program that we've just started at our Laguna Hillside. A woman has a new symptom in their breast, whether it's new breast pain, breast lump, a rash on their breast that's new, they can call in and get into the office within 24 hours and be seen by a physician and have some imaging to have an answer before the end of that day. So this is a very powerful program. I would much rather spend the rest of my career preventing cancer than actually treating it.
Hi, I'm Brian Rott, President and CEO of Cartmart here in Laguna Woods. My family's been in the golf cart business since 1959, and we win our customers over with the simple belief of we treat you right. We are proud to be the authorized dealer for Club Car here in Orange County and your go-to source for the sales and service to other major brands. We're conveniently located on El Toro Road, just minutes from Laguna Woods. So come by and see for yourself, while when doing business with Cartmart, there's no reason to go anywhere else.
Managing your own medication can be stressful. For decades, we have watched you stand in line at your local pharmacy and battle with insurance companies, all to be left with the difficult task of organizing, managing, and remembering to take your medication. AmeriPharma offers a new way of simplifying the lives of you and your loved ones.
In previous years, I didn't require any prescriptions, but now I have to take about 7 or 8 due to various conditions. It's a management problem. My nurse told me about AmeriPharma's Med Box. I switched over. Boy, am I glad I did. It's really easy to use and it's solved all my problems.
Get your medications delivered to your door. You'll receive your pre-sorted med box that easily allows you to tear and take the required medication regimen at the plainly printed date and time. AmeriPharma MedBox, the new standard in medication management.
Summer is here. Diane's Hallmark has everything you need to make summer cool. From clothing to jewelry to unique one-of-a-kind gifts, Diane's Hallmark is the place to go. Diane's also has a large religious section as well. Come in today to see it all. Diane's Hallmark is located in the Walmart Shopping Center next to Hobby Lobby.
Well, from Third today, Steve Parsons is with me. He is their board treasurer. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. And Steve, great to have you on.
Thank you.
First thing you want to talk about is, of course, this time of the year, the budget is in full force.
Yes.
Budget for 2019, I should say.
Right. I want to preface this by saying that so many times we get complaints, we have people inquiring about things, but we really want you to know that things are going pretty well.
Right.
And good things are happening, so we want to capitalize on these things. Well, one of the things is the budget process. This has meant a lot to me this year because this is the first year I've seen where budget planning has really gone smoothly.
Right.
The boards have come together, especially the presidents and first vice presidents and the staff, Brad and his folks. They have really sat down and identified all the major components to the budget, what it would cost, and we've laid it out for everyone to consider, and it's been considered a couple times, and it's going very smoothly. So what we had last year, year before, a lot of meetings happening, not so much.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much to the point where we're going to be able to really start firming up things here. Our next budget meeting for Third is on the 10th of August, 9:30 to 12 in the boardroom, and it will be televised. So want to let people know about that.
All right, very good. Now let's move on to something that's fun around here, and that is the Laguna Woods Art Association.
Well, this is kind of near and dear to me because my wife is in that organization.
Okay.
And they've just been able to do something brand new this year, and in their plein air painting, which means they just take everything outside, in multimedia, which could be oils, it could be acrylics, watercolors, whatever. And she took them to different places within the village so that they could paint different scenes.
Okay.
And it's the first time these folks have ever done that. And through the Thrive program, they've sent a photographer out to be with these folks to take shots of what they're doing. And we hope after they finish their paintings and sketches and things like that, that they will actually have them on display somewhere. You might, some places that they've been, I'll mention that because it's all within the village, is the Aliso Creek Park, the Clubhouse 1 Koi Pond, the building and the fountain there also. They've been to the stables, which a lot of people really enjoyed, Garden Center 1, the Aliso Creek Park, which I mentioned earlier, Clubhouse 2, Par 3 Golf Course, Clubhouse 1, and the main golf course. And some of these people were so excited about it that they showed up an hour early just to go out and stage where they were going to sit.
Very good.
They really have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also the organization once or twice a year submits paintings up here for hanging in the walls of the community center and then also over at City Hall when requested. So they're pretty busy.
Yeah, they are.
They're really enjoying it.
Fun. That's great. Great artists here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some really super good artists.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, now we're going to talk. We're going to switch gears a little bit, talk about some GRF subjects, and the first one is about electronic payments, and we're going to talk about different things going on in the clubhouses, right?
Right. Electronic payments has been something that's been on the radar for a couple years here, and that's to allow people to pay for fees, fines, assessments, anything like this using a credit card or debit card.
Yeah.
And we're finally to the point where we're just about ready to roll out the whole program. Chuck in our IT department is working on a test right now with Betty, who's our Chief Financial Officer. And we think that that's going to be possibly up and running by the end of this summer, okay? And it's going to be a great program. We'll let you know more particulars as we get closer. But it's going to be great because if you have a chargeable service, say Brad wants to get it to where when the serviceman is done, he has a tablet right there. He just swipes your card, and it's at the point of service.
Right.
Okay.
And we see that everywhere now.
Yeah. And they're going to try to get it set up so that you can do it through the portal also. So that's coming, and looks like the rollout's going to be real soon.
All right. Very good. Now, you want to give updates on some of the clubhouses, just kind of what's going on. So let's go in order.
Well, kind of from a budget standpoint, some meetings I've been in and committees I've been on, and looking at the capital plan, I'd like to start with some of the GRF programs first. These folks have been working really hard. And one thing I like about the staff and about members of the different HOA boards is they don't sit stale or stagnant. They're out looking around, talking to people, trying to see what the problems are and things like this. And so GRF spent a lot of time this year really identifying things, and along with Brad and his staff. So just go over a few of these things. Now, I'm going to give the fiscal year where they were slated to be. Some of these things maybe moved forward. By forward, I mean closer to us maybe even this year. So basically I'm talking about this year through the end of 2020. And I'll try to give you a target area. Okay, Clubhouse 1, TV cabling in rooms 1 and 2, new paint and carpet in the office, new patio grills and chairs, and on the pool deck, they should be receiving some chairs as well.
Okay.
Now these are specially picked chairs, so as they'll be able to be stacked, but they're also going to be more comfortable than the ones we currently have. That's slated to be in 19 and 20, part and part. Clubhouse 2, next year, they're looking at carpet upgrades coming to the meeting rooms. I guess they're getting pretty well worn out and things like that, so they want to replace them. Clubhouse 3, coming in 19, it's being considered for new rigging for the stage, a new curtain, roof replacement, and a new air conditioning system. And the reason they want to do the roof and the air conditioning system together is when you do the roof, you may as well do that.
Yeah.
Because you have access.
Yeah.
So that's pretty well firmed up, I think, for 19.
Now, obviously, getting back to the roof replacement, that's pretty major now.
That's pretty major.
Are you aware, or I should say, do you know, we talking about the entire roof, parts of the roof, or is that still being looked at?
As far as I know, it could be the entire roof, but especially where that air conditioning system is going to go.
All right.
So Brad's still looking at that as to how to size that up, but it may be part and part, it may be the entire thing, but they want to do the air conditioning system and that part of the roof at least at the same time.
Okay, and now Clubhouse 4.
Okay, coming next year, right now, I should say, a new air conditioning system is being installed in the wood shop. It also has particle filters in it and things like that. It's something that they've wanted for a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, last year I was there, and one of the guys recognized me as being on Third Mutual, and he grabbed me on the side and said, "When are we going to get our air conditioning system?" You know, and I came back, and at a meeting I was at right after that, they started talking about it. So now it's actually happening, and I'm sure the guys are going to be very happy with what they get.
Yeah, especially in a wood shop, you want something that does good air filtration. Of course, as far as I know, most of the equipment there, the saws and things like that, are connected to a vac system. I think they are anyway.
At least part of them are.
Yeah, part of them are. But even with that, you still have the fine particles, the fine dust that is.
It's all throughout the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, something else that's coming to there is new kilns are slated to be installed this August between the breaks of the classes there. And hope they are able to get that installed during that short time period. Something else that's just happened is the Photo Club has just received a new remodeled 48-inch printer. So if you're in the market for looking at something like that and you want to work with the photo club, it's a great opportunity now to use that system.
Yeah, they're very nice.
So.
You can do poster size.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, very good. Now, Clubhouse 5, lobby improvements.
Yeah, they're scheduled in 19 for new lights and replacement of window coverings. People have been asking for window coverings for quite a while, and they've tried a few of them, but they just haven't worked right. So I think they're pretty well settled now on what they're after.
And Clubhouse 7, that this is kind of more of a minor thing, but a new door. Was there something wrong with the door or not one there?
I don't know because I don't play bridge. All I know
Okay,
is that
I don't
people
know
were
that one
excited.
either. All
But
right.
it's going to be a new door that gives them access into the bridge area.
Okay.
So Brad seemed to be excited about everybody else, and I'm kind of going, okay, maybe I need to go play cards.
I've been in there before, and I know there's the one double doors, but I don't know.
So.
All right. Now the Equestrian Center.
Yeah, the Equestrian Center, we have a new barn manager that just joined us last weekend. And the person comes from Aliso Viejo with experience, okay? So it's not going to be somebody that needs to be trained up. Person that hit the ground running. Also, the center will be receiving new chairs soon. Brad, I think, has accelerated the purchase of those. So for events that they want to hold over there, you're going to be more comfortable.
Okay. And finally, the golf course area.
Okay, lots of things are on the docket here for the golf course, especially over the next 3 years. And I'll just touch on a few of them that have been accelerated to this year, and then talk about a little bit for 19. The wood shop has been in a partnership with Recreation Department, and they've made some new markers and signs. Some of them are already being installed. As soon as the wood shop finishes another project, I understand they're going to get back to it and finish up on the signs. So these things I think will have ranges on them. They won't be placed in the middle of the fairway anymore. They'll be off to the side like a regular golf course.
Yeah.
As I understand.
All right. That's I like the idea of the wood shop working.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And those guys are phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Professional woodworkers. It just blows my mind to see that what they do.
Yeah. Why not use the talent that's
Yeah.
here? And there's a little sense of pride that goes along with that. So.
We also
Good.
have a new pro golfer staff member. He's joining us. His name is Sean. And looking on to other things that are happening, funds are being allocated for new gate valves to their watering system there. And
Okay.
they've got to upgrade the entire thing, but this is the first step
Okay.
that Brad wanted to have done. And then next year in 19, they're looking at completely redoing the lines, the sprinkler heads, things like that. The sprinkler heads every so often are supposed to be raised to get above the turf and the ground level.
Yeah, they kind of
right now
come
they're
up.
kind of down
Yeah,
low,
yeah.
and they can't really get the area for sprinkling like they need to do.
Okay.
So that'll help in the long run. So I think people will be happy with that.
Yeah.
It'll really help with the watering problem.
All right, now to Third Mutual, and the first one you want to talk about is, of course, the subject that's been talked about now for several months, and that is along Ridge Route Drive and the new type of fencing that, I should say fence topping, so to speak, that'll go on the Shepherd's Crook. And I know that this has been looked at back and forth for the last several months, you know, what style and things like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
People in that area are going to see contractors starting like within the next week, where they're going to go in and take out the low brush, and they're going to trim the trees.
And we can see this on the screen right now that it's really, you know, let's call it what it is. On the outside there, it's just kind of a thicket of mess right now. And a lot of debris back there. We've had problems with people sleeping back there, some folks that are homeless because, you know, they can get back up in there and kind of hide. But you can see here a lot of cleanup that needs to be done and will be done. It has been done. But once you get the Shepherd's Crook on the top of the walls there. Yeah.
Now, some parts of the wall, well, first off, once they get the debris out of there, and they're going to raise the lower canopy of the trees up to 8 feet.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll give our security guys better access to drive by and look. And also for the people that live on the inside of the wall.
Yeah.
Now, in some spots on the wall, it's only like 36 inches high.
That's right, yeah.
So in some ways, the debris has helped, but in other ways, it's easier for people to climb over the wall. Okay. But what we want to do is put Shepherd's Crook in there, which will take it up at least to between 6.5 feet and 7 feet, somewhere in that area, and make it much more difficult for somebody to come in. And it's not a solve-all situation, but it is a way of keeping people out that would not ordinarily try to climb something high and get by some spiky points.
Right.
So it should help with security for that area considerably. Now, once the debris is taken out, which we anticipate about a month to 5 weeks, and there's going to be a lot of noise, there's going to be stuff in the air, so people need to prepare for that. But once that's done, then they'll come in with a shepherd's crook and put that up.
Okay.
So then it'll be pretty nice, I think.
All right,
So.
very good. The trash chutes in the garden villas?
Yeah, we've had trouble in the past with the trash chutes needing to be cleaned and fixed. And what we're trying to do is to completely scrub them out, which the cleaning process has already taken place. We've had to work with waste management and some other folks to clean up some of the dumpsters that were under there because they were real smelly. So were the chutes. So the cleaning has been done. They're actually in there repairing them and getting them up to speed because some of them haven't been done for a long time. There may be holes, there may be jagged edges, things like this. One of the things that they've looked at is when the chutes come down to where they dump into the dumpster, they narrow a little bit. And so they're looking at a way of how to fix that also.
Right, right.
And it may be just as simple as getting a little metal arm with a hook on it to pull things down.
Yeah.
But anyway, they should be cleaner and they should be fixed.
Yeah.
So that should be done by the end of the summer for sure.
Great. And now the walkway lighting, always a multi-decade project or multi-decade subject, I should say.
But we're doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it, yes.
The contractor's already in place, and Bill Walsh on our board, he's the first vice president, has been over there monitoring everything that's been happening. They've already taken out some of the lower height of the lights that are lower and putting in new ones that kind of look like a canister. They're about 30 inches high. Now, these canisters will have lights in them that put out much more light.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to refine how they're aimed and things like that. So that'll be coming in the near future. But we also plan in the future years to put some money against the program to go into the unlit areas of the walkways. And now this is by gates 5 and 6. And I was over there and I saw some areas that were pretty well black.
Yeah.
But we've got to take care of the first thing, and that's to get the other ones replaced, find out how they cast the light, and then plan accordingly.
Okay. Now, finally, another thing that is required by the Orange County Fire Authority, and that is removing what would be areas that would be considered fuel.
Right, for fires.
For fires, yeah.
And that's over where our fence or wall connects to the wilderness area. And the Orange County Fire Authority, you know, with all the fires of recent, they're very concerned about taking care of weeds, dry things.
Yeah.
Anything that's growing that has anything in it that could be flammable. And some of the plants that we have, things like that, and bushes, the oils inside of them can be considered flammable. So what we've done this year, we've moved up to this year, is we've allocated $200,000 for the beginning of this project. And so within the next month, you should see a contractor out in that area who's actually going out, cutting down brush, trimming up the foliage to no more than 36 inches in height. So they're going to be hauling off a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And after we finish that, then we've got to come to the interior of Third Mutual, to the hillsides, and cut that stuff down. Because if you look up on some of the side hills, you'll see growth up to 10, 12 feet.
Yeah.
And like Bruce has said, you could start a fire at the bottom and go all the way up into the trees. So we're trying to chop this down and make it more accessible to people, as well, or to firefighters, as well as take away the fuel concept for the fires.
All right, very good. Anything else?
So just want to say that I think things are going really well. And I am so happy to see boards working together and staff. It's just, it's actually a joy to walk into a meeting sometime and be with these folks.
Yeah.
And people are thinking outside the box. We're finding solutions for things that we never knew that we could. And we're working, especially with our funds that we have allocated, to shift them around if we need them and to meet the needs of the community.
All right, very good. Great to see you. I appreciate it. Take
Thanks
care,
a lot.
Steve. We'll see you next time. We'll be right back.
Why do Subaru Forester owners always seem so happy? Because they've chosen the industry leader. Subaru Forester holds its value better than any other vehicle in its class, according to ALG. Better than CR-V, better than RAV4, better than Rogue. An adventure that starts with a Subaru Forester will always leave you smiling.
Come in to Irvine Subaru to celebrate the Subaru A Lot to Love event and get complimentary maintenance included on all new Subarus.
I've been with Clear Choice about 6 years now. I have my wife sitting next to me. She was tired of me seeing a what all the time, and that's when we sought out a hearing specialist, and we fell in love with Clear Choice right away. The hearing aids worked great. I gave them referrals. My son's got hearing aids from Clear Choice. My neighbor's got hearing aids from Clear Choice. And in my mind, Clear Choice should be your #1 choice.
Come in to one of our locations for a free hearing evaluation. Clear Choice Hearing Aid. Hear better, live better.
When a loved one requires ongoing assistance and attention, home-related care and caregiving become viable alternatives to an existence dependent upon hospitalization. Your home care provides thoughtful general care and assistance with the basic necessities of daily living, all within familiar surroundings. Call 949-215-0004 to schedule a personal in-home consultation.
My name is Angela. I'm 51 years old and I was diagnosed with a heart murmur. Before the surgery, I was struggling to breathe. I was missing out a lot on playing with my son. I decided to go to Hoag from Nevada to have my mitral valve repair because the surgeons there are excellent.
My personal approach to patient care is really taking care of a patient as if they're a member of my family.
After the surgery, I can chase him and run around and play with him as much as he wants.
It's like a miracle. It's like this patient made it through the toughest time in their life, and it's an awesome feeling.
The feeling to see these patients recover, especially when they're critically ill like that, it's just the best feeling in the world.
We wanted this to be one of the top cardiovascular centers in the region, the state, the nation, and to be recognized for that. We've achieved that.
If I had to go back and make the same choice, I would choose Hoag again. They treated me like family. This changed my life, and now I get to be with my son.
Right now, I'd like to welcome Dr. Teferi Matiku, who is a Hoag electrophysiologist. Am I right?
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here today. And the main subject that we're going to talk about is atrial fibrillation. Did I pronounce that? I pronounced your name right.
That's correct.
That counts more.
Atrial fibrillation.
Yeah, AFib. Let's call it AFib.
AFib, yes.
Let's talk about first what that is, because it's something we hear about a lot, and you know, the question might be, well, is that a heart attack? Is it just a small little symptom? What is it? How serious?
Atrial fibrillation is a heart rhythm disorder.
Okay.
It's not a heart attack.
Okay.
Of course, heart attack can lead to atrial fibrillation. Normally, the heart beats in a synchronized beat between upper and lower chamber, where upper chamber regulates the rate and the rhythm at which the heart beats.
Okay.
So atrial fibrillation is a arrhythmia of two upper chamber of the heart. We call them atrium.
Okay.
And is when they are beating chaotically and out of sync to the lower chamber.
Okay.
Yeah, and that causes a irregularity and chaotic heart rhythm.
Okay. Now, is that something that occasionally we all get? You know, sometimes you'll, even in a resting state, sometimes you'll get a little, what I would call a heart palpitation, you know, you just like that, and then it's a couple seconds later, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that may or may not be atrial fibrillation, and there are many other arrhythmias that mimic atrial fibrillation. Some of them are skip heartbeats. The skip heartbeats are the beats that come from prematurely from upper chamber or lower chamber.
Okay.
And that might give you the sensation of skip heartbeats.
Okay.
If I go into the symptoms of atrial fibrillation, the most common symptoms that you see is palpitations, sensation of flutter in the chest. Some people just feel fatigued.
Okay.
Some people feel fatigue when they exert themselves. Some people may feel chest pain and pressure. Some people feel skip heartbeats.
Okay.
So the symptoms of AFib is very broad, and any of those symptoms may suggest you have atrial fibrillation.
Okay. Now, is it something that you would notice on a regular basis? and that would give you kind of a clue, well, this isn't just like, you know, something we all get once in a great while.
Yeah. So in the atrial fibrillation is chronic progressive heart condition. So early in the disease process, you may get these palpitations or the symptoms periodically. But as the disease progresses, those symptoms become more frequent and more persistent. Ultimately, if you get stuck in atrial fibrillation, the symptom will be continuous all the time. And usually, majority of patients with atrial fibrillation have some sort of symptoms. Those symptoms are not necessarily palpitation or sensation of flutter. Some of them just, they don't feel right. It's just a sensation that your health is not right.
Yeah. Now, as far as treating it, what are some of the steps that Hoag takes? And my other question here, because is this where a pacemaker comes in?
Yes. So let me unload this question because there's multiple points to this point. Atrial fibrillation, when you have, let's say you come in and you see your physician, and if you have any of those symptoms, I think it's important that patients go see their physician, primary care physician, and if they get diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, they need to be referred to a cardiologist where they need to be worked up. One, why they have atrial fibrillation. Two, treat them appropriately based on their risk factors, age, symptoms, and all other factors that contribute to atrial fibrillation. So let's say you're a new patient, you got diagnosed with atrial fibrillation. The first thing that we need to do is identify why you have an atrial fibrillation. What are the risk factors for atrial fibrillation? For example, most common reason people have an atrial fibrillation is hypertension, is high blood pressure. If you have an excessively elevated high blood pressure, you got to treat the disease upstream, which is what caused the disease. Not necessarily treating only the symptoms, but also treat the cause of atrial fibrillation. If you have a sleep apnea, if you're overweight, if you consume excessive alcohol, consume other stimulants, all those things need to be factored in. That's actually more important than just treating the atrial fibrillation itself, because that changes the disease course, that changes the frequency and the burden of atrial fibrillation. So treatment, when we see a patient at Hoag, we assess the patients initially what caused their atrial fibrillation, and once we identify, we correct the correctables. Certain conditions, actually, if you treat, let's say you have a excessively stimulated thyroid, we call it hyperthyroidism. If you have AFib due to hyperthyroidism, that AFib is potentially curable. Even though the disease of atrial fibrillation itself is not curable, but if there's a condition that you can treat that causes the atrial fibrillation and you can correct that condition, maybe your AFib will be also curable. But majority of the time, AFib is not curable. It's chronic progressive condition, but you have to treat the disease in a sort of a broader approach, identify the cause, correct the correctables, and then also treat the atrial fibrillation. And then going into atrial fibrillation treatment has multiple modalities. One, there are medications that we can use to regulate the rate and regulate the rhythm. There are medications called rate control medications, beta blockers, metoprolol, atenolol. There are calcium channel blockers medication that we use to slow down the heart rate. Those that just slow down the heart rate at which the heart beats. And there are medication we use, we call them antiarrhythmics. Those are medications that regulate the rhythm. Instead of just being irregular, the heart rate will be regular. So we call them antiarrhythmics. And multiple choices exist. And if those medications fail, maybe you end up needing a procedure called ablation, which is we identify the tissue that's abnormal tissue that's causing the arrhythmia, and we use catheters through the veins in the groin and the neck or arm, go inside the heart and cauterize or zap those abnormal tissues to correct the rhythm.
Would that be, in that case, something that maybe was, can somebody be born with this condition? In other words, it manifests itself much later in their life, but it's something that they're just born with, you know, it's or hereditary.
It is majority of AFib, the way we understand it now, is acquired condition. It's like if you live healthy lifestyle, eat well, meaning healthy diet, exercise regularly, watch your weight,
right,
reduce the stress, and all those things are important. If you have a tendency to develop AFib, even you have a genetic predisposition, you may delay the disease onset. One more point I haven't really touched is treatment of AFib. We look at the AFib treatments in two different modalities. One, rhythm issues. Two, stroke prevention. Because when you have an upper chamber beating chaotically and irregularly out of sync to the lower chamber, it causes and increases the chance of stroke. So each individual patient needs to be assessed appropriately, and some of them have a high risk factor based on their other medical condition. They might need to be treated with the blood thinners. We call them anticoagulation. And fortunately nowadays we have multiple choices that we can use to thin the blood.
All right, very good. So obviously the first step here is if you're someone who maybe has these symptoms, you kind of feel certain things going on, you tell your primary, and then from there they'll assess you need to take the next step to a cardiologist.
Yes. Those are kind of traditional approach. Unfortunately, sometimes patients present with the advanced arrhythmia because they don't feel well, or they kind of suppress the symptoms, and by the time they show up, their first presentation may be stroke, first presentation may be heart failure. So it's important not to ignore those subtle symptoms that make you feel unwell, and go to your primary care doctor and being assessed for this arrhythmia. And the treatments that's available today, we have multiple modalities that we can do: medical therapy, ablation. Some patients may even fail medical therapy and may not be suitable for ablation. Those are the patients, to answer the earlier question, is they might end up needing a pacemaker
and that regulates?
It does not necessarily regulate, but it helps our abilities to treat the atrial fibrillation by essentially cutting the electrical circuitry between upper and lower chamber. So the irregularity of the upper chamber does not conduct to the lower chamber. So therefore, they need a pacing of the lower chamber.
All right, very good. I really appreciate you coming on today. A pleasure to meet you. And I want to tell folks you can go to hoag.org for more information. And also, of course, Doctor, you were both at the Newport and Irvine location.
That's correct.
So, you might come across the doctor there. And the number, by the way, you can also call is 949-764-5871. A pleasure to have you on.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Your body is made for work, play, and adventure. All the things that make life amazing. But when pain gets in the way, turn to Hoag Orthopedic Institute to get you back to doing the things you love. At Hoag Orthopedic Institute, we're experts at getting you out of pain and back to golf, running, or yoga. Whatever makes you, you.
The El Toro Water District Phase 2 Recycled Water Expansion Project has installed over 21,000 feet of recycled water pipelines and is now over 75% complete. The final pipeline installations, as well as installations of service lines and final paving, should be complete by July. The connections of the individual irrigation systems to the new recycled water pipelines should be complete by the end of the year. The district sincerely appreciates your patience as we enhance the water supply resources in the Laguna Woods area.
I have Dr. Wade Smith, who's a breast-dedicated oncologist, who's here to give us our breast-link chemotherapy report. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
You're welcome. And really interesting stuff that we're going to talk about today. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about breast cancer, of course. However, you have some specific things. So when you say breast-dedicated oncologist, what does that mean?
As an oncologist, somebody who treats cancers with medicines, sometimes chemotherapy, sometimes hormone therapy. As an oncologist, I treat breast cancer and maintain a practice exclusivity with breast cancer.
Okay.
And so it essentially enables me to remain more interconnected with other breast cancer specialists in the community and internationally, and allows me to provide that level of expertise conveyed onto the patient.
Okay, all right. And then we were talking earlier about treatments, and you mentioned chemotherapy. And I know there's other treatments, but there's something specific that's going on right now, and there's a particular type of study. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. Recently making headlines was the presentation of TAILOR-X, which is a large study looking at roughly 10,000 breast cancer patients. And of those 10,000 patients, roughly 6,700 have the most common type of breast cancer we see. And the purpose of this TAILOR-X trial was to determine if a gene expression test that we've been using for a long time could be applied to women who were within the intermediate risk category of their breast cancer.
Okay.
And again, a gene expression test is a test that looks at not our DNA, but the DNA of the patient's cancer cell, looking to see if there are high-risk mutations present within the cancer cell DNA.
Right.
And if there are enough high-risk mutations within this 21 gene panel, then we would classify it as either high risk, intermediate risk, or low risk.
Okay.
We've had information directing us with regard to high-risk patients and low-risk patients, but presented at the American Society of Clinical Oncology annual meeting and more recently published in the New England Journal of Medicine, we now have the update telling us how to basically utilize this test report in determining whether a patient is going to benefit from receiving chemotherapy after surgery for early stage breast cancer or not having to receive chemotherapy.
Okay. Why is it so difficult in the intermediate stage to really determine it?
Well, for one, it comprises the majority of our patients. So 70% of our early stage breast cancer patients end up falling into this intermediate range. And so it's very important to determine whether they're going to benefit from chemotherapy or not. Chemotherapy has associated side effects. It can impact quality of life. It can mean a woman will take time off of work for several months. So it's a big commitment to receive outpatient chemotherapy. And if we can spare patients chemotherapy, then it's worthwhile.
Well, that's good to know. Now, chemotherapy is not the only way to go. What are some of the other treatments?
Well, we treat early stage breast cancer with surgery. That's the cornerstone of therapy. In addition to chemotherapy, we also often treat with radiation therapy and endocrine therapy.
Okay. Well, in fact, the endocrine, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, endocrine therapy, as pertaining to women whose breast cancer has expressed the estrogen receptor, basically allows us to deprive any residual cancer cells that have survived surgery, survived radiation therapy, depriving them from being stimulated with estrogen within the body by either blocking estrogen from binding and activating the estrogen receptor, or by lowering one's level of estrogen in their own body.
Okay. Are you seeing some new technologies on the horizon that are maybe going to be better than what we see today?
Absolutely. So the big, I think, push that we've seen in the last several years has been targeted therapies. So therapies that oncologists would provide that instead of basically attacking all rapidly dividing cells in the body, therapies that are very specific to cancer cells in the way that cancer cells express specific proteins or may harbor a specific gene mutation resulting in abnormal protein expression. We're able to single out that needle in a haystack and target it better. Another new front in targeting cancer cells has been in augmenting the body's own immune system. And there have been recent treatments within the scope of breast cancer oncology that has also led to drastic improvements in outcome.
Great. Hopefully we're not too far away with some of those.
Absolutely.
All right, good. Breastlink's been around for a really long time. Tell me why.
Well, BreastLink is a model that is unique, certainly unique to this part of the country, where we incorporate medical oncology, breast surgical oncology, as well as other ancillary services all under one roof. And that enables a patient who comes in for a diagnostic mammogram to rapidly be seen by the breast surgeon, the breast oncologist, and so as to orchestrate a treatment plan in a very short matter of time and get that patient onto treatment and ultimately onto cure is our goal.
Well, and then records-wise, everything is contained, right? Rather than, I think what you're trying to say is that some of the other hospitals or things that we go to, doctors, you have to go to a variety of different places, right?
That's correct.
So then we worry about our records being transferred.
Right, and so that's the benefit of this model, keeping everything under one roof.
All right, excellent. What are some of the things that you could tell our audience about what we should be looking for? I mean, I know we always go to our yearly, but in addition to that, are there other things that we should be looking out for?
With regard to our own health?
With regard to our health, our breast cancer, or anything like that?
Yeah, I always encourage patients, if there's any seedling of doubt or concern with regard to something they discover within their own body, maybe not even necessarily a lump, but a change within their breast that is new, to go ahead and bring that to the attention of their primary provider.
Okay.
And of course, we're always available in order to facilitate the appropriate diagnostic imaging and to either provide reassurance or to take it to the next level and pursue a biopsy.
So just curious, why did you go into oncology?
In medical school, that was a time when we first started seeing breakthroughs in what would be the targeted therapies we have today. Trastuzumab, which is HER2-directed therapy that we use very commonly in breast cancer, had just started to show excellent results. And across the board, I knew that cancer could be treated in a way that moves beyond simply the scalpel and could be treated in a way incorporating medicines and targeted therapies that I think is certainly interesting and exciting from the standpoint of the investigator, but also offers so much to patients. And I wanted to be a part of that.
Okay, all right. Can you tell me about the confusion with the TAILOR-X study that has hit the news about women not needing chemotherapy for treatment?
I've had some of my own patients come and ask me, does that mean we don't need chemotherapy? What I will say is that the TAILOR-X update certainly allows us to select out only those patients who are going to require chemotherapy and leave the remaining 70 or 85% with lymph node negative early stage breast cancer in a situation where we don't have to offer chemotherapy. But what we do know from this study is that there are still a sizable percentage of patients that are going to require chemotherapy in order to achieve a benefit in reducing the risk of the cancer coming back, as well as the benefit of not dying of breast cancer. So very important to have that discussion with their treating oncologist.
Well, it's nice to know that there is a study that you can certainly help the majority of the patients. So excellent. Well, thank you. Very good information.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you being with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. If you'd like more information about breast cancer or you have additional questions, you can always go to breastlink.com.
At BreastLink Laguna Hills, we understand the anxiety that comes along with healthcare. That's why we provide breast-dedicated specialists in imaging, surgery, and oncology. We have one center, one team, with one focus, you. Studies have shown that cancer patient outcomes are better when treated by dedicated specialists. This makes a difference for women who want timely, concise, and accurate answers. BreastLink delivers the care you deserve with the quality you expect. Whether you need us now or later, we're always here.
Different is powerful, yet calming. Different is a friendly smile. Different is accepting, not judging.
Different is the unexplained, left to the imagination.
A day without plans, to walk, to explore, a coastal drive with no destination. Different is anything but predictable. Different can be good. At South County Lexus, you'll find different is amazing.
Kiana Lee. Today we're talking with Dr. Christine Chung. Today's topic is gum disease. Doctor, what do we need to know about gum disease? Mom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gum disease is an infection of the tissue that support and surround your teeth. It's a major cause of tooth loss in adults, but it's an easy fix.
Thank you, doctor. So don't wait, people. Come on in and get your 7-day dental smile.
And our movie coming up today is called 7 Days in Entebbe. This is based on a true story. It happened in 1976 when there was a hijacking of an Air France flight that was en route from Tel Aviv to Paris. And this movie covers the most daring rescue mission ever attempted. So this is kind of a thriller at certain parts. And again, this is based on a true story. I kind of remember when this happened way back in the 1970s. There was I think it was a TV movie made on the subject several years ago. I think it was called Raid on Entebbe, but very intriguing, kind of behind the scenes and what went on, and a really powerful film. So we'll bring that to you today, July 23rd, and that will be at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. Then on Friday, a very different movie based on a classic book, A Wrinkle in Time. This is Disney's version, and this movie we did see. We went to see this, I think it was in theaters, I want to say back in March. Great cast in this. Storm Reed plays a little girl in this. Oprah Winfrey and Reese Witherspoon. It's all about a little girl whose father is a scientist, and he mysteriously disappears into basically another realm. And this is the journey, how she, along with her friend, gets him back and reconnects to him. Very good movie. The little boy there plays her brother in this. So it's her and her little brother and then her friend that go, there's the boy who is in this, that go into this other realm, a wrinkle in time, and a very surreal world. I really enjoyed this. Great special effects in this, and it's a very well done movie. The little girl in this did a really remarkable job. Great film. That will be on Friday, good family film, and that will be at 2 and 7 o'clock as our Friday films are. We have one more movie left after this for July, A Midsummer's Night Dream. We're going to be bringing this to you on July 30th, and this goes all the way back, well, 83 years ago, 1935, and this one stars James Cagney. This was when film was pretty new. And this is that version of the classic, of course, Shakespearean play, and turned into a movie, probably turned into a movie for the first time, considering this was 1935. So that will be on July 30th. Those films will be bringing to you. So tune in for those. Now I want to remind you about our Village Library. So much to offer there. And the library is open from 10 until 4, Monday through Friday, 10 until 1 on Saturday. And we've had Eileen on and talked about hours that may be extended in August. They're looking to extend one evening, and don't have the official word on that. Looks like it's going to be on Wednesdays to maybe 7 o'clock, but next time that Eileen Ordway comes on, she'll give us the official announcement of that. They were kind of working that out still. But the library, especially on this week when it's hot out, step into the library. You can relax. You can read a magazine there, read a newspaper. They now have iPads there that you're welcome to use to go online and just enjoy yourselves. A nice service over there, over by Clubhouse 1 and the Historical Center. If you don't know where the library is, you've never been there, it's right over there. Enjoy it. They offer an awful lot. So really, really nice, and good people over there. Everyone helps out and volunteers, and great services. And if you ever have any books or things you want to donate, contact them and they'll see if they can use them as well. Now I want to remind folks that down here in Resident Services, if you come in and you need something, they have the little kiosks out there out front that can help you out, and they're basically tablets, and you can go in there and get some basic information and sign yourself up to talk to somebody at Resident Services, and you can see Chuck there trying one out, and you can see how easy that is, and get you going and get you started very quickly. And great service to have that there. And of course, look at that smile on Chuck's face. He's the one who put those in, and it's really cool to have those there. Of course, plenty of people to help you there as well. And now you put your name in, and you can go sit down, and they'll call you when you're ready. Have some, they've got some cookies and stuff down there. And again, great new service down there. Now, the weather, well, sorry, hot over the next several days, really over the next week. We're in for some very warm temperatures. A high pressure system that's kind of sitting over New Mexico, Arizona area is going to be pushing this heat in. About 89 today, and as I said earlier, I give you kind of the average temps when I look at a few different sources. So we are going to be in the low to mid 90s all the way into through this week. As we get to Saturday and Sunday, we're going to probably be closer to down maybe about 87 or so. But overall, we're into warm to hot weather all this week, unfortunately, hot, dry weather. Let's look at, we might get a little breeze with this as well, offshore breeze, but right now there's no red flag warnings posted, which is good, but that could change. Here we are around the county today. Look at Palm Springs. Yeah, they're going to be right around that 117 mark throughout the week, so hot out there. And look at it only going down to 90 overnight. It is going to be stifling out there if you're headed out to Palm Springs. Do what you can, right? You don't want to golf in this kind of weather out there. The rest of the county, you can see everywhere mid 80s to upper 90s, and all those temperatures are going to be going up over the next few days. All right, we will see you tomorrow. We have Dr. Trin on tomorrow. And also, we're going to have guests from the Parentis Foundation, and also Woodstock Entertainment that's coming up, and also a guest from Suburban Buick Cadillac. They're up there in Costa Mesa. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.